Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Hodges. I'm the community manager at Systematic. And today, for our Level Up Your Career series, I am going to be talking to Justin and being able to share a little bit more about his story. So I'm super excited about that. So let's kick it off super easy and just do introductions. Justin, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your current role and responsibilities.
So everyone, my name is Justin Wu. I am product manager for post sales over at Twilio. Twilio is a telecommunications company. So if you've ever gotten a cool text message saying your food's ready, you're welcome. Within Twilio as a product manager for post sales, I really help support our Salesforce ecosystem. So I work primarily with our go-to-market functions, but along with a lot of the folks that are part of the post sales world, I support teams that help our go-to-market teams and our customers after the sale. So my primary focus is within post sales so far have been our professional services teams, our customer success teams. I've done a bit with billing and partners, and currently I'm also working with our support teams. So it's a big area, but I'm pretty excited to be able to continue to work with my developers, my product owners, my business analysts, and a whole set of wonderful stakeholders within the post sales world. So yeah, as a product manager at Twilio, I am busy.
Yes, I was going to say, it sounds like you don't have kind of like a stagnant moment in your day. It sounds like you're interacting with tons of different stakeholders and partners. So, yes, you must stay busy. And then one thing that we've chatted about a couple times and is also a running theme for the Level Up Your Career series is people in tech having some maybe unconventional backgrounds or stories of how they've gotten into tech. So I want to touch on that with you. So I did some snooping on your LinkedIn. I saw that you went to UC Davis where you studied econ and international relations. And I wanted to ask how you transitioned from the major that you studied into the tech world.
Yeah, as I think back on my college days, all the good, all the bad, and all the things I learned, I was really happy to be able to attend UC Davis and try and find a way to build out a business major. They didn't have a business major per se. They did have different types of economics programs and a whole assortment of classes that you could kind of stitch together and build your curriculum. So I started with econ. And granted, for all those that are familiar with UC Davis, I took the easier econ, not the macroeconomics, managerial economics econ. And so as I took the easy way out in the beginning, I actually really got interested in the way that a lot of our cause and effect projects really kind of started to play out. I realized that, as you start to see which pieces are influencing what process, I think that's what got me really curious about how it all works. I added on international relations in my sophomore year. I have an emphasis in China and Southeast Asia. So it was really great to be able to learn about my culture as well, learn the history as well, and then add in the economics layer. That's kind of what I was able to do at Davis and really build my own version of a business major.
Yeah, it sounds like the problem solving that you were interested in kind of gives you the sense of like putting together pieces of the puzzle, which I'm sure is really helpful in business systems and tech and figuring out how everything connects with each other and making it more efficient. So I definitely see that you have that kind of like problem solving brain going on. And then you went to Davis, so I have to ask, is picnic day worth all the hype in your opinion?
Um, I highly encourage everyone to attend picnic day. It is a fun, wholesome, family-oriented event, and I feel like it's just a great time to be able to uh, check out Davis as a city and get to know the student body.
Well, perfect. That's your plug, everyone, to go check out Davis. Um, and then I think we chat about this a little bit, but wanted to highlight this again and really showcase like what you think were the skills and knowledge that translated from your time studying econ and international relations over to like your time in tech or even your current role.
Yeah, through my majors at UC Davis, it really got me thinking about process and really understanding how different factors will influence an outcome. And I think having done enough diagrams and charts, and it's like, where does it land? And show me how much yield and all that good stuff. I really appreciate that when you learn a process, you can start to see like what type of outcomes are available, and then you can start to like tinker with what types of changes will yield different outcomes. And so as I kind of thought about, okay, I'm really process oriented, also really need a job now. So as I graduated, I had the opportunity to work at a couple different internships. And what was nice is, and I encourage everyone to do this, take different internships. It's great to have one or two, but being able to understand how a company functions and what types of roles they'll pay you to do, right? And then be able to support the company and how your role in that company um, builds upon whatever success the company's looking to do. I really feel like that was my introduction to sales operations. Through my internships, I worked in sales ops. I worked a little bit on the sales side. I did a marketing operations internship. And what I really liked is I liked working with people, but I also liked working in process. And so
Mm.
I wish they taught me this in school, and that's why I encourage everyone to take as many internships as you can. But I wish I had some org chart that was like, "Hey, here's what they'll hire you for, right? Like, here's what product teams do. Here's what sales teams do, marketing teams do." And really, I found my passion in sales operations. We're an interesting set of folks, brilliant in our own ways. And I find that I found a passion being able to build out processes that people enjoy using. It's like, hey, I hate it now, but hey, in a couple months, you'll love it later, right? Like that, seeing that transition is something that in the tech world, I've really been able to build my identity around.
Yeah, well, sales ops makes the world go round, I guess. But I love that piece of advice saying, encouraging others to kind of try as much as they can while they're still figuring things out. I think I did that and it really helped for me. So I definitely resonate with that. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of your career arc. You've been utilizing Salesforce throughout your career, and I'm sure that gives you a unique perspective on how it's changed over the years, especially since you've been using it in different roles. Curious to hear from you. What are some innovative or interesting ways people have been using their CRM or using Salesforce?
Yeah, totally. I've had the opportunity to work for a bunch of companies, much like my intern strategy. I probably did that as a business analyst. And so if you've got a chance to take a look at my LinkedIn, please don't judge me too hard. I did have the opportunity to be able to work at different levels with different companies. And in being able to work always on the sales ops side, having access to Salesforce and being our Salesforce administrator through the companies I worked for, you really get to see how the business views their data. Some companies care a lot. Some companies want the data to be protected and trustworthy. Some companies care about having a lot of data and making it fluid and easy to use, right? So I appreciate getting the chance to understand that there are different ways that companies choose to run their business and how they protect their data and how they invest in building out like their goals, right? I've worked on very lean sales ops teams and I've worked on teams that had wonderful budgets that were looking to continue to accelerate and invest, right? So there's this divide between where your company is at. Hey, I get it. We're all businesses and we need to be able to make the best financial decisions. So I appreciate that in sales ops, working on the Salesforce side is particularly, you get this like very unique view of how the company like starts to see their customers, their data, and then also the internal teams as well. So some of the highlights that I've seen in some orgs have been in the hardware space, partners is a really big emotion in hardware sales. And so being able to provide like, I have a background in CPQ and Salesforce CPQ. So being able to provide all those like discount programs for different tiers of partners for different product sets, I was super impressed in being able to kind of get a view of that. I worked for Optimizely, my previous company,
Mhm.
and we had a chance to really take a look at our data from a product-centric, user-centric perspective. So a lot of our motions were to understand who's actually using our product, and then being able to essentially personalize our approach in selling and engaging with them. Right. So the list goes on, but ultimately, I think it's really nice to be able to uh, see how the business views everything through Salesforce. And it's nice to be able to have that chance to work with a bunch of companies to be able to kind of understand that.
Definitely. It must be interesting to see how different companies utilize and value their data and what they do with it. You said all these wonderful nuggets, but I think something that just made me laugh was when you said when companies have a wonderful budget. I feel like that's such a lovely term. I think I'm going to use it next time. Another topic that we've chatted about a few times was the fact that you and I are both independent contributors. And we chatted about what that looks like, finding your place in the team, where you bring value. And something else was how to help ICs level up in your career. So I wanted to ask you, as an independent contributor, what are some of the ways that you are looking to take the next step in your career?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, and this is this is one of the reasons why I'm a part of the semantic community here, because I'm always trying to also learn from my peers and from those at different levels to be able to understand perspectives and tips and tricks on ultimately how to continue to level up my career. One thing that I found that's always been helpful for me is to be constantly curious. As I learn more around how businesses operate, there are many different types of business models. I was talking a little bit about like how Salesforce gives me a chance to see what the business cares about. It's nice and I highly encourage everyone to continue to be curious and learn how businesses operate, whether it's the one you're at now or maybe the future businesses that you're interested in learning about and maybe working at. Being able to understand what they care about, how their teams are structured, what are those company goals, and what are they looking to achieve. I'm not the best finance person, so I'll say that on recording, right? And I'm sure there's other way better tips on how to understand the health of a business. But my tip to all ICs is just to always remain curious. You're doing a current role now, and that's awesome. You may find out that there's something else within the same company, within another team, or within the team you're on now that takes on more responsibility. There may be wonderful ways to continue to grow, but you have to be curious. And you may have to do a little bit of work, like a little bit of the grunt work now to make those opportunities available. And I kind of call it, you got to play the game,
Hmm.
understanding how the game is played and ways that you operate in. I highly encourage everyone to continue to stay curious and see what else is out there. I think at times I get a bit restless, and as I continue to want more in my career, I'm wanting to understand what's out there. It's kind of like, hey, I want what I don't know I want yet, right? So as I kind of stay curious and continue to learn how other teams operate, I really enjoyed my product manager role here at Twilio. It's something that I've recently transitioned into, and that's kept me really, engaged and curious, and has given me kind of this second wind, so to speak, right?
Yeah, it sounds like you are staying both curious and proactive, and that's amazing, kind of taking it upon yourself to like learn the other lines of business and really understand the business piece of it. But besides kind of like an individual being able to like put time in and really try to navigate the career on their own, do you have like a certain wish list that other managers could kind of like help ICs with, whether it be through training or shadowing? Do you have kind of like a wish list of items that could help other ICs move further into their career?
Yes. um, I've had a chance to work with a whole lot of really strong managers, and I've taken, different styles and how they've run their teams, and I've kind of incorporated it into my process today. And what I really wish managers would do for ICs is be consistent in how they want to be able to have their teams talk about the work they do. Um, I am infamous for being one to add on way too many details or tangents or wrinkles to stories and end up hogging the mic a bit. So I think it's really good for me, and it, I encourage managers to be able to stay consistent in how they want their teams to talk about their work, because that's something where, as an IC, we all operate in different ways, but having a strong baseline is something that I feel like helps everyone on the team contribute in their own way. You can
Hmm.
have folks that are more outspoken, you can have folks that are a bit shy, and you can run the whole spectrum. So a wish list within management is just being able to understand that those dynamics may be real, or they may not be as self-evident, but having that baseline and consistency really provides the structure. Um, Another wish list item I'd have for managers as they work with their ICs is to stay as emotionless as possible. And this is something I'm really working on as well. In the heat of the moment, I think one analogy I had from a former manager was, you want to be like a duck, swimming on the lake or floating on the lake. It's very serene. You almost don't see anything as they're gliding along, but underneath they're paddling along.
Yep.
And having that um, emotionless is probably not the right word, but having that calm, patient demeanor
Mm.
and being consistent about it is something that I highly respect in managers. Because if I'm, off the leash and going a bit wild, and then my manager is going crazy too, and then all of a sudden I find that it's a bit of an imbalance. And so one thing I really like for managers on as a wish list would just be stay consistent in your approach, and then also stay consistent in your delivery.
Definitely, consistency is key. And then now to just kind of like chat about less about career and more about you. So I've actually been able to see you at a few of our in-person events. It's been a great time. But for those of the audience who are not yet part of a community or network, what would you say are some of the benefits of finding a group?
Yeah, what's it called? The phrase "misery loves company," right? Being in the ops world, I think we can all trade stories of late nights, escalations, and oh my gosh, what just happened kind of moments. And so I really enjoy these networking events and being able to connect with the community, because one, you never know who's going to be there, and I think that's always a bit of the interest for me, and why I really like to go to in-person events, is the chance to connect with anybody and everybody. I've really enjoyed being able to talk with really high level folks and folks who are on my level as well. So it's nice to be able to have that opportunity, and honestly have that no pressures moment, right? It's great, Mary, that you've been able to create these environments where I feel like, you can kind of roll in after a hard day of work and be able to just kind of kick back and learn and chat a bit. And then the community members and the attendees have been just really welcoming, and as I'm casually learning, right? Because if I have to go online and go to an academy and study, right,
Hmm.
it's not casual, right? But being able to go to our in-person events and just learn from everybody, and sometimes there's just like one nugget, whether it's a
Hmm.
new tool someone's asking about whether it's good or not, and you're just like, hey, this is a really good way to get not an unbiased, but like get an opinion on something that you might have just heard about in passing. And so I think that's just you never know what's going to happen, but there's always a good set of folks. And Mary, you've always created a wonderful environment.
Thank you. I think that's attributed to the fact that I over order on food and drinks. So there's enough for everyone. But I also like agree with you the fact that groups can be really special, especially it can be a bit daunting to talk to people that are a little bit higher up or director levels, like within your company. But within these groups, like you're mingling with people who are just starting out in their career, people who are kind of like CIOs or execs, and everyone's kind of like on a level playing field and just having good conversation. So I think it's like a good way to learn how to speak to people at all levels, like in your career, in your company, and realize that it's not as scary as it looks, especially when someone has like a plate of crackers and a glass of wine. So
Exactly.
I encourage everyone to come to like any in-person events that you can. And now that we've heard a bit about your career journey, how you transitioned from econ and international relations over into sales ops, I want to ask you, who are you outside of work, Justin? What are some other things that your community members should know about you?
Oh no, this is where I always
I know.
screw up. It's like when you're the new person, or when a new person joins and everyone has to do a fun fact. I'm like, oh, I
Immediate
promise I'm
sweat.
fun. I promise. But honestly, I think that when when I turn off from work, right, it's really nice for me to be able to just kind of plug into my regular life routine. I am an avid streamer, so as I say streamer, I am very diligent about what's on Netflix, HBO Max, Amazon Prime. So I'm really excited about this upcoming season. I'm a Game of Thrones fan. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan as well. So, and I had the chance to go to Comic-Con just this kind of past month over in San Diego, and that was amazing. It was my first time, and let me tell you, it was busy. There were people were everywhere, and I love the cosplay, and it was just a really good time. Great weather and great people, and I probably came back with more merchandise than I'm allowed to put up in our apartment. But
I thought we talked about we're having a swag overload, and you brought back more from the.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey, I've got lanyards that will never see the light of day again, and just some gifts that I'm happy to be able to give to some friends. But yeah, no, I'd say I'm a big nerd, but that would do injustice to those that probably have a way bigger knowledge base and passion. But I'm a casual. I'm a
A
casual.
humble streaming addict.
Yes, and I'm open to any recommendations. So especially on the international front. So honestly, I think that's something within Twilio now and our teams. As I work with my teams in Bangalore, it's always nice to be able to share our interests and see, honestly, what's got the world's attention.
See, it's your international relations coming back out to play.
Yeah, there it is. It all ties together.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. Well, we'll have to connect offline because I have a lot of thoughts on the new Game of Thrones episode and the new Lord of the Rings series. I'm hoping they do it justice. It's been a while, so I'm excited to kind of jump back into that world.
Me too. I agree, and I hear it's a 2-episode premiere for Lord of the Rings. So buckle up.
I know I like nervous, excited because like the trilogy was just so good on its kind of like own. I'm like, oh, I hope this like new series does it justice, but we'll just have to see.
Exactly. It's going to be a wonderful, maybe less productive Q3.
Hopefully, none of our managers are listening.
I hope they're watching the show. That is.
Uh, that is funny. For our last kind of like fun, lighthearted question, we've been asking everyone this since we're all kind of like in the tech world. If you could automate something in your life, what would it be?
Okay, and I'm very serious about this because working from home now is is a lot of our realities, and so I would love if my bed could be made automatically. and in a weird way, I want different styles, right? So it's like I don't want just one cookie cutter like way to fold the sheets and set the pillows up and everything, but I think that would be amazing. just the one daily activity I'm much more diligent about now. I wish that my bed could be made automatically.
I love that. And maybe they can like fold your blankets like they do in hotels with towels and make you like fun little animals or like different shapes.
Exactly. Like,
Go
load
big or
in the
go
sheets
home.
that you have, right? And hey, some self-cleaning element would be amazing. But hey, I'll wait for one of our amazing semantic community members to create that company. I will do your CRM. Okay. We'll be aligned that way. But yeah, as just something that I wish would just be a little easier each morning.
I love that. Well, those are all my questions. Thanks for spending your Friday morning with me. I am glad that I was able to kind of dive into your story a little bit more. I feel like I have a better understanding of who you are, like in your job and outside of it. And always happy to see you at any of our events. You definitely bring a really good energy and smile to everyone. So it's been fun. I'm excited now that we can chat about Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones now. I got a lot of opinions, so
Yeah.
buckle
No
up.
spoilers, all right? No worries. We'll confirm if everyone's up to date. But no, Mary, thank you so much for also running this community and bringing us all together. I appreciate being able to look at my calendar and have some of these fun events coming up.